everybody, and welcome to High Story Times. I'm your host, Cole Jones. For all my Spanish speaking peoples out there, that's cojones. Yes, yes, I know. Laugh, laugh, ha ha ha. So, tonight's story we begin in 1923. A young man by the name of Elijah Goldberg, Orthodox Jew, was born. And now, 1923, you had street acts and performers. You had, um, oops, I forgot to put the restream up. The chat anyway. So you had street performers and like circus acts and things of that nature, but you never had like an actual comedy club where it was comedy. There might have been an act or two to stage perform, but that was like a warm up to a play or something like that. Kind of like today's warm ups for TV and whatnot. That beginning act. Let's loosen up the crowd a little bit, depending on what play it was, depending on what you got. But as far as a comedy club and performing in comedy clubs, those didn't exist in 1927. And this man, Elijah Goldberg, born in 1923, excuse me, uh, you know, grows up young man, street performer, and making a decent wage on his comedy and his jokes and his slapstick type nature, Charlie Chaplin esque, if you will. Same time era, 30s to the 40s, and then you have World War II that starts. Not so good for the Jewish, right? Not so good for the Jewish. It's terrible. So he gets put in an internment camp, and he's a laborer, so he has to go dig ditches for the Nazis and all this crap. And, barely sleeping, barely eating, fearing for his life constantly. Um, 1945 comes. The war is over. Okay, the war is over. The Jewish people are free now from the concentration camps, the ones that survived anyway. He makes his way to America. So, being in America, where does it go? Ellis Island, of course, is New York. And he had family here already. And they had an established business. And with that business, they were able to provide him with a good household to live in, all that good stuff. So he wasn't struggling anymore. But he was still street performing. And it just wasn't working out for it. And he went to his brother and he was like, hey, look, I got a good idea. Yo, what's going on, Orthodox? It's High Story Times tonight, man. I'm telling a story about the first ever comedy club. Uh, so anyway, back to the story. He decided his street performance not going as well as it was before the war and all that. It feels like he's lost something and it's just not there. So he's like, hey, we need a small room that can fit 20, 30 people in, charge 2 bits, and we'll be able to perform there on a stage in front of everybody. So his brother, he takes that idea and he's thinking, he's like, you know, A few blocks away is Broadway. They do comedies. He's putting two and two together. And you know they Jewish, so you know they gonna make some money some way or another. You know what I mean? So he they they decide to go ahead on the business to build a little room, and they just it was basically like a little gas station hut type looking room, you know. um and the wall to the building that had the business, the warehouse wall, was a brick wall. You see right behind me, this is where the brick wall comes from of comedy. He said that when they were building it, that he looked to his brother and he said, man, every time I see that wall, I have the same feeling of when I was back in the concentration camps. And and I and it's kind of the same feeling I get when I perform, like when I'm going to perform on the street in front of people. It's basically scared to death. And I don't know if y'all can relate to that feeling of being scared to death about something but still loving it to go do it. But I can relate to that shit because I look at my bag of weed all the time and I'm like, man, I'm scared to death you gonna run out, but I still smoke the hell out of it. You know what I'm saying? You know, I still get high as hell, but I'm scared to death I ain't gonna have no weed no more. You know. So anyway, back to the story. He said that brick wall, when he had to go dig those ditches and come back to the camps, they passed the wall where the firing squad was, and it was a red brick wall. Hence, the red brick wall in comedy clubs. He said that he wanted that wall on that building to be the backstage, the backdrop. He said he wants that feeling to never leave him, that he's getting in front of the firing squad every time he gets up on stage. Which is kind of true for comedians today. I mean, the people, man, they are harsh out there. So with a comedian get on stage, it's kind of the same as how he felt back then. Like, you're terrified until you get your groove, and then you're good. And every comedian will tell you they get nervous, they get anxious, they get excited, you know, and that's the firing squad wall. Boom, right there. And if it's a traditional comedy club will have a brick wall behind them. So that's how you get the story of the brick wall. Now, you're like, that's a bullshit. No, that's true. That's it. And there's more. That's not only the only influence that Elijah Goldberg had on the whole world of comedy to this day. Now, in 1945, when he was in them internment camps and the leaflets fell, that meant it was going to be a bad day because they was going to bomb the place, basically. The leaflets fell and said, hey, if you're able, get out of here. We're about to bomb the shit out of this place. So if you've seen the leaflets fall, that was a bad day bombing. Now, what's it called when a comedian has a bad day on stage? Correct. Bombing. Or they bombed, or so another boom boom connection. Elijah Goldberg, he was like, bam, got to get out of here. I'm bombing. You got to go. You know, he felt that, you know, when he wasn't doing good on stage, and that stuck. That catchphrase stuck since 1945, 1946. It was actually December 2nd, 1945, when the comedy club opened. It was a Sunday night, and Sunday evening, and they would against the grain a little bit with their church and whatnot. You know, they were more entertainers and business people and more of that minded, instead of, you know, always doing their religious duties. But this man lived a great life. He gave us comedy clubs. Oh, excuse me. Wow. Um, now, there's you're like, okay, so the brick wall, firing squad, World War II, Jewish man invented the comedy club, started the first comedy club. Uh, Now bombing on stage connected World War II, connected to Jewish life. Leaflets falling. It's gonna be a bad day. It's a bombing. Comedian having a bad day bombing. All right. There's more. There's more. I don't know why my camera zoomed in and out. I got those settings cut off for some reason. It did it anyway. Okay. So yes, there's more. There's one last thing that this man, Elijah, J with a J, not S, Elijah Goldberg, uh, still has influences on today in comedy. Now, just imagine you're an Orthodox Jew. You're in America. You're learning English, pretty well. Um, I mean, you've already been learning English your whole life, really, um, to an extent, to get by. Kind of like somebody in California learn a little bit of Spanish just so they can order the right shit, in a Mexican restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of English is what he had. So Orthodox Jews at that time, um, couldn't say Hitler, properly. You know, they were heckler. So the term heckler really meant Hitler. And if you was on stage and a comedian in this club, and somebody in the audience didn't like your joke and they started to talk shit, they would call you heckler. You was Hitler. You was trying to deny, somebody else's existence there. As somebody interrupting the comedian trying to do his job and make you laugh and all that. So you was considered a heckler, which is Hitler. So all you motherfuckers out there that be talking shit at comedy clubs while comedians on stage, you are the Hitlers of comedy. Okay, you're the Hitlers. So remember that before you open your mouth. Remember, what would Jesus do? And am I being Hitler right now? And go ahead and reevaluate your situation. Shut the fuck up. Have your 2-drink minimum and your 1 item and get the fuck on. Okay. Okay. Oh shit. So what have we learned tonight during the story? So far, we've learned that Elijah Goldberg, born in 1923, made it through the Holocaust, made it to America, 1945, the year the war was over. 1945, December 2nd, he opened up the very first comedy club, which featured red brick walls, that reminded him of the fear he had when he was on basically the chain gang in the Holocaust. That he had to pass and feared death of, which is in front of the firing squad. Comedians get up in front of firing squads all the time, with you hecklers, you Hitlers. And yeah, the bombing on stage was all connected to this whole story and the heckler. So you have the brick walls, with the firing squad. Oh, that cigarette's so good. Brick walls with the firing squad, the bombing on stage, and the heckles are all 3 main components of comedy, which came straight from Elijah Goldberg. Which is pretty amazing, considering that comedy clubs really didn't pop up until like the 1960s everywhere. Like the late 50s, early 60s is when comedy clubs popped up all over the world. And this man was handling his business 10 years before that. You know what I'm saying? For 10 years, this man handled his business while nobody else was doing what he was doing, or at least not documented of doing what he was doing until the mid to late 50s. Now Elijah Goldberg um lived a good long life. You know, he wasn't a smoker, wasn't a drinker. He liked comedy. Was a good daddy. Yo, what's up, Derek? What's going on, man? On Facebook, what's popping, Derek Mill? Oh, motherfucker, what's going on, man? One of the Stoner brothers is up in the building. How's it going, man? We just telling the story of the first comedy club ever made, man. How long you been here, man? You enjoy the story yet, man? I'm wrapping it up pretty much on the back end of the story, but what's up, man? Shit, I'm gonna put my cigarette out and fire up this joint right here. Damn, burn it, yo. Here we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You missed the story? Alright, check it out. I'll recap right quick. Okay, so the story of the first comedy club. Now, I'll recap it right quick. It's a quick little story. First comedy club. A man named Elijah Goldberg, right? A man named Elijah Goldberg. Jewish man. Born in 1923. Got put in the Holocaust. 1945-ish. Around 21, 22-ish. He was a street performer. And he ended up, after the war, he ended up coming to America, Ellis Island, New York. He had family here already that had escaped and, you know, put themselves here. And so the story of the Brick Wall is the first ever comedy club was built on Goldberg. That's what's up. He's back, man. He's going after the belt right now, man. Shit's crazy. Botchberg. Don't get me started on that, bro. Come on. Goldberg, man. That motherfucker's hurt more people. Accidentally hurt more people. Like, he don't know. He like man child. He don't know his own strength. But anyway, the the first Oldberg now, yeah, right? He dropped the G. He a OG Oldberg. So they built a building next to a warehouse in New York where it had a brick wall, and the brick wall was very similar to the brick wall in the Holocaust, when dude was on the chain gang basically, and he had to walk past it back and forth every day, fearing it because it was in front of the firing squad. You know, that was the wall that they put you in. That's why it's red. It's blood. You know, like so that's why the brick wall is in traditional comedy clubs. And he was a street performer before the Holocaust, right? So he decided when he was in New York, street performing wasn't doing good for him, so he needed to change. They built this room on the side of the building. He said, "This brick wall, I fear it every day, walking past it in the Holocaust." And that's the same feeling I get when I perform in front of somebody, is the fear of death, basically. And I don't know about you, but I can relate to that guy. I can relate to some shit like that. You know, fearing something, but still loving it. Like I look at my bag of weed all the time, and I fear to death, scared to death that I'm going to run out, right? When we burning again, man, I'll have you on HIGHSTORY Times, man. You can come over in this. Anytime, bro. Anytime. You ain't got COVID? I got my flu. I got my vaccination. I'm good. Everybody been locked down, bro. So yeah, that's why the brick wall's there. He feared it. I fear shit like that to death. Anytime, bro. Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely reach out. Um, and can you relate to that though? We vaxxed. That's what's up. Like, you ever get nervous before you perform? I know you get hype and shit, but you ever get scared to death or something? Or your first time ever performing, was you scared to death? But you love wrestling, right? So I relate to that, because I look at my bag of weed and I'm scared to death it's gonna run out, but I keep smoking. You know what I'm saying? I love to smoke, so I'll keep smoking that shit. Um, but yeah, man, and then oh yeah, it happens. Yeah, yeah, and then fucking and see, the thing too is that fear of going up on stage. That's like the crowd being the firing squad and the brick wall. That's why traditional comedy clubs had a brick wall. And again, what do you do when you have a bad time on stage? What's it called when a comedian's having a bad night and ain't getting no laughs and it's just going all wrong? Bombing. World War II. If you got the leaflets coming down, I mean, it was gonna be a bad day. Somebody was gonna get, it was a bombing coming happening. So it transitions into that, man. World War II comedy, Elijah Goldberg. It's all connected, man. It's all connected. And then check this out. You're an Orthodox Jew, right? You're an Orthodox Jew. You don't speak English good, and you try to say Hitler, heckler, heckler. It comes out with that CK, so it's a heckler. So if you was in the crowd trying to stop somebody from doing their job, which is the comedian trying to prevent their way of life, they would call you a Hitler, which translate heckler, heckler. Word, cuzzy, hit us up. We high story. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, we got stories. Got stories. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So heckler was Hitler, but with the mispronunciation, it became heckler instead of Hitler. But remember, if you're in the audience of a comedy show and you decide to run your mouth at the comedian, you're just the Hitler of comedy. So just drink your 2 drink minimum, eat your one item, enjoy the show, and go. But yeah, man, that's it. That's pretty much it of the story of the first comedy club and how it relates to today, in the aspect of the world, like what lasted from the original to now. Well, there's 3 points. The brick wall is in any traditional comedy club. Bombing on stage is still a catch phrase, saying, slogan, whatever it is, moniker, and heckler is a Hitler, which it kind of fits. But yeah, this dude, man. And I'm gonna be totally honest with you, bro. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I made all that shit up. I made it all up. Not one thing there was real. I made up Elisha Goldberg. I made up 1923. I mean, shit did happen in World War II, and it did end. And there was a couple of facts in there, but for the most part, all that was bullshit that I put together for a story. And that's gonna be high stories. Uh, you know, High story times. That's what it is. I'm gonna look at something, and I'm gonna put a history to it that has never existed before. I'm gonna try to be a little funny. I'm not a comedian or nothing like that. I'm just a dude that wanted to fuck around, and I had some fun tonight. Fucking had one of the Stoner brothers drop in off of Facebook, which is awesome. I had them on my old podcast. The audio was fucked on it, but we got that shit fixed now, yo. And yeah, just I've made all that shit up. But I'm fucking stoned as hell. I'm high as hell. I'm faded, and in that story, oh my god, I got through it. I got through it. That's funny. So Elijah, let me finish his backstory for the rest of his life. Elijah ended up being a good father to his kids, Bill, William Goldberg, which you all know as a professional wrestler. Um, and he had a daughter. Uh, and yeah, man, that's the that's the story. Who just jumped in? Who just jumped in on that? Somebody just came in. What's up? Who's that? Who's there? Let me see. How much time did I take? And I about told the story twice. 30 minutes. So roughly about 20 minutes is the story. Is the story time. I ironed the kinks out of the story time and got it down to about 20 minutes, which I could probably do in a 5-minute comedy bit if I was to be on stage to break it down. It was like, let me condense it right quick. Y'all know about the guy that invented the comedy club? No, nobody knows. All right, y'all look this up when you get home. But his name is Elijah Goldberg. That's Elijah with a J, not a S. Elijah Goldberg. Um, Jewish man, went through the Holocaust, came to New York, street performer. Wasn't doing so well. He decided to make a comedy club. Every time he performed, he said made it feel just like every time he walked past the brick wall of the firing squad when he was on the chain gang in World War II. It scared him to death. But in comedy, he said he loved it. You know, he loved comedy. So that feeling of performing, he said, I want the brick wall behind me. The red brick wall. Boom. So that's where that comes from. And I don't know if y'all know of anything in y'all's life that y'all love so much but scares you to death, but you still love it anyway. I can relate to that shit because I look at my bag of weed constantly and I'm like, man, I hope you don't fucking run out. I'm scared to death you don't run out, but I keep smoking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I keep smoking. uh, I keep smoking. And then he was like, man, over time he seen a few comedians wasn't doing so good, and it was like, how does it make you feel? He's like, it made me feel like the leaflets was falling and I had to get out of there. That means in World War II the leaflets falling, bombing's coming, so he was bombing, so the catchphrase bombing caught on. And the third thing that ties this man to comedy, the first comedy club ever that still ties everything there, he was an Orthodox Jew that said Hitler as heckler. So if you was talking shit in the crowd, you was heckler. You was actually the Hitler of comedy. So shut your mouth. Do your shit. So that's the 3 points. So I broke that down to the basics of basics. In 3 minutes. But don't. There was only one joke in there, really, or two jokes in there, but they wasn't solid. You know what I mean? So there's a process of a comedian right there. Have a story baseline, break it down, chop it up, and you keep running. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, anybody that watches this and actually listens to the whole story and is at this point, not only are you a fucking legend, you know what I'm saying? You're a fucking legend, okay? If you're here now and watched everything, okay? You're a fucking legend. I love you. You're awesome. Remember that. And not only was all that shit made up and fake and all that, well, around facts, but Elijah don't exist. Okay, first comedy club ever with the brick wall and all those stories don't exist. Um, that's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna look at something, we're gonna check it out, and we're gonna do about a 20-30 minute story on it. Uh, it's gonna be about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We'll talk before and after the story. If I got anybody in the chat. Um, but yeah, I appreciate Derek coming through and Orthodox. Orthodox came through. And like I said, I'm not a comedian. I'm just a podcast dude that's telling some stoner ass stories. You know, just gonna look at something and be like, I don't know, the golf ball or some shit. Like the first person who invented the golf. It's just it was wood. You know, what the fuck ever. Um, you know, it was a wooden ball, and you hit it with a stick. Somebody dug a little hole over here, and did, which also, spawned croquet. You know what I'm saying? And then hockey comes off of that. Just dumb shit. Just dumb shit. Um, because my history is better than your history. Okay? Even though I'm using facts of history around certain things. Fucking right, man. Derek, appreciate you coming through, bro. That's what's up. That's what's up. Alright. So, um, I don't like to go under an hour when I stream. Maybe 45 minutes, So we're gonna just sit back and chill. See, what's it? There we go. I'm trying. I got this lozenge from the club, from the weed club. Like, just high motherfucker, cut his ass, wide the fuck over. And yeah, you probably right. It's a wonder what a thumb can do when you're holding a joint and trying to do this shit. Like, I understand now. Opposable thumbs are more handy, get it handy, than you think. So, that's kind of a dad joke. I figured out opposable thumbs the other day were more handy than you think. What the fuck? Okay. This is, wow, weed. This is watermelon. It's so good. It's weedy, but watermelon. Okay, so everybody go Google Elijah Goldberg. See what happens. Elijah Goldberg, born 1923. I don't know. I don't know what'll happen if you do that. Elijah Goldberg. I'm gonna have to crunch this candy, y'all. I'm sorry. I can't taste the weed taste no more. It's so weedy. Marijuana, marijuana. I'm sorry. Apologize. My bad. Yeah, these motherfuckers is strong too. I'm gonna be knocked the fuck out in about an hour. Okay. So, before we go, you gotta pick a subject for next story. What is up with a fucking mustache, man? It's like I got sliced right here. What the sh? It's not a scar, man. It's just fucked up. Um. Hmm. So this week was the first comedy club ever built, and the man behind it, and the influences that it still had on us today. Uh-huh. Um. Next story. We need something. I don't want to do like a club or anything like that, like a business or anything like that. Like a fake Ford Motor Company. Um, let's see. Let's see. Hmm. No, I don't think that's gonna work for me. In my head, I said Jolly Ranchers because I just got finished with the candy. No, that's not gonna work. I look like I was just gonna, I laugh and go, that's not gonna work for me. I'm crazy, y'all see that, right? Okay. Mm. Man, I don't know. I'm so high right now. I can't think of anything. I'm just looking around at shit, and I'm like, uh, I can't even. No, nothing. Fuck, I'm so stoned. I'm so fucking stoned. I'm so high. I'm faded as fuck. Okay. I got the giggles. I'm so high. Oh shit. All right. Oh yeah. Social distancing since 1985, baby. 1985, Nintendo came out. I wasn't nowhere but in front of the TV getting yelled at by my mom. Talking about, you too close, you going blind, and now I gotta wear these fucking glasses. She was right. God damn it. Oh, man. She was fucking right. About a lot of shit. Don't do therapy. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Um, I don't know. I don't know what this next story should be. I'm just fucking dead airing it, looking around at dumb shit. Fucking high as hell. I got some moon rocks. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. My bad. Uh, I got some moon rocks right here that I'm gonna smoke now to close out high history. And I have it. The next History Times story will be the first man to ever construct a suspended bridge. A suspension bridge? A suspended bridge. Which is it? Find out next week, Sunday night, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. motherfucking Pacific time, West Coast time, 1 a.m. on the East Coast. Because I don't want none of them East Coast motherfuckers watching this laughing at my ass. Oh, man. Can't have that. No, I'm just playing, man. I love my East Coast peeps. Um, might decide to change to 9 p.m. Just so I can hit that midnight on the East Coast. It was a sweet spot when I was doing the podcast. Um, or I could go earlier than that. Depends on how the story times go. We'll look at things and we'll check things out and we'll see what's going down. But yeah, we'll look into the suspension bridge or suspended bridge. Depends on where my mind goes when I start looking this shit up. Okay? And we will see you fucking same blunt time, same blunt channel. Or I should say, instead of blunt, I should say same faded time, same faded channel. Next Sunday. Let's go. Alright, y'all take it easy. I appreciate everybody coming through. Derek Mill, one half of the Stoner Brothers slash Commandos, Northern California and worldwide wrestlers, pro wrestlers, professional wrestlers, entertainers, sports entertainers. I think they would slap me for calling them sports entertainers. So I will just say pro wrestlers. Journeymen. They fucking kick your teeth in. Alright. And then another shout out to Orthodox. Orthodox, homeboy, Orthodox coming through. Appreciate that. Nobody from Trovo, huh? No. D Live, no. Periscope. They got views, but they never talk. Man. Alright. Y'all have a high night and a faded Monday. Peace out.